Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, the host with the most, Phil Better. And today I am happy to have another podcasting legend on the show and a great entrepreneur in himself, Cory from the Get Hype Media company. Cory, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's Phil, it's a blast when we get to talk to other podcasters, right? Like it's one thing to talk to other people that host podcasts, but it's another thing to talk to other people that are just in the business, in the grind every day, that pretty much do all things and hang out with people that do all things podcasting. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. So thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I love it too, because it's a different conversation. Like if you have a person who just has their one podcast and you're talking with them, just a host of a show, they have like one level of understanding. But when you have someone who's done production on multiple shows and helps other grow their show, it's like like the next level. It's like a secret society almost talking with people. But Cory, we're not here just to talk about podcasting. We're talking about your journey in the entrepreneurial world and what got you started. But before anything, I need you to introduce yourself to my audience. So go ahead and take this time to give a quick introduction.
Yeah. So Cory here, co-founder of the podcast Hindsight Hacking, and our show we launched January 1st, 2020, and it's just we had a side business that we were using. Like my partner and I, we were doing the 9 to 5, and we started building some stuff, started doing some coaching, doing mastermind work, all in person. And then 2018, that started to venture, and I started learning more things online. And next thing you know, we stopped everything we were doing and started only in the online space. And and then we launched the podcast and just fell in love with every aspect of podcasting. And yeah, I mean, at one point, 2019, I was building websites and running Facebook ads and editing podcasts at that point, but it was a very minor bit of our business. And then once we launched, I was like, no, this is the way to go. This is what we love. And this is the fun part of what we do. And just, anything podcasting, as you know, it can be a game changer for so many people. And it's just a spot to go have good conversations and meet amazing people. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, come on, everybody, you can meet such amazing people and have conversations all over the place.
Like this is, it's the number one place, one, because you get to learn so much from someone when you're having a conversation, right? We're talking about entrepreneurship. We can talk about podcasting. We can talk about the struggles you've had. And like, I will learn, because if I come up to a situation that I'm like, well, I talked to Cory, he's had the same thing, he did this and it worked out, I can already have a bit of a blueprint on how to fix my way through a problem, but also you get to connect with so many awesome people and share their story.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but when, I'm sure you have your one or two podcasts that you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Just on a regular basis, just because you love the content that you get. But being involved with editing and helping others, like there's just so many other podcasts that I hear and listen to, and just because I'm working on it, just because we get to do that, I'm like, I would have never listened to this podcast about cancer, or I would have never listened to this podcast about a gentleman who's an African American and he's a felon, and he's trying to show that people deal with racism and the term felon, it just, the prejudice that happens with that. And so many of those like good stories can come up with it. I would never listen to that, but because I'm involved in the world of podcasting, I get to, and I get to learn so much. And it's just like, there's every single person out there. If you have any kind of business, you should have a podcast. And if you want to get, even if it's a hobby, if you want to talk whiskey or model cars or whatever you want to talk about, like it's just, yes, everyone go get a podcast.
It's so I
I've started looking at the world differently. When I started my journey of entrepreneurship, like it was in 2020, it's the end of 2020. That's when I started this podcast. That's when I really decided, hey, I'm going to go into the entrepreneurial world. I want to try and build something. And it was like, I'm going to help entrepreneurs with podcasting because I've done it for so long and I have a blueprint on how I did it. So I just have to fix it for them. And I've done it and I have some great clients. But I started looking at everything differently. Like radio, podcasting is radio. It's just now radio for the masses. Now everybody can do it. If you have a phone, thanks to Anchor, you can have a podcast and you can talk about whatever you want. If you want, you can do a daily podcast of you just journaling your day. Like you can go Phil's day or John's day or whatever, Corey's day, and that's your podcast. That can be the podcast.
Yeah.
That's what, like, it's insane. You'll get some listeners because someone's going to be like, oh wow, if a vlog can get, if people can vlog and make a living vlogging, you definitely can do it podcasting.
Yeah. And, yes, recommend do video. Always have the video.
Yeah.
You can use it in other places. But for those that are shy, for those that are still a little bit afraid of the video, if you just start with the audio, then, again, you can go anywhere you want to go, share anything you want to share. There is somebody out there that is needing to hear your message. Right? Like it's just whether that is, your daily steps that you're doing, or if it's just about whatever business that you have of how you're trying to serve. And there is enough people in the world that there is somebody out there waiting for your message and waiting to get on board, to hear it, to get them through their day, whatever it is. There's so many out there. Let's go. Let's get more started. Let's get more launched.
Yeah. There's like, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 2.3 or 2.5 million podcasts out there. And there's like, we're nearly 8 billion people. There's there should be closer to a billion podcasts out there because of how easy it is and how everybody should have one.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, 100,000 plus new episodes going to iTunes a day, right? Like it seems like a lot, but then when you say 8 billion people, it is
it's
still
nothing. It's like the old school TV when you only had like 3 channels. And that's the only things you had, and everybody's watching the same 3 channels. They're like, we want more content. Well, it's available to everybody. Everybody can get content. Business owners want to learn how to be better business owners, right? If they don't have to pay for it, they can get live master classes by listening to interviews or someone just saying, this is what I did to make my fitness brand better, or my my hardware store better. And they start taking it in and they start growing their business, and like everyone wins too. Like you can help someone down the line and they'll share your stuff, and that's going to grow you. Or if you just want to talk whiskeys, you can talk whiskeys. I need to
Yeah.
find a good whiskey podcast.
Yeah, there's got to be one out there. Maybe you and I, Phil, can start one together.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So, yes, that would be awesome. I have been seriously thinking about doing some kind of YouTube and audio version of whiskey, but that's a whole nother hobby side note that we'll talk about at another time. But yeah, it's so funny. I don't know about you, but you just mentioned where you could go get a master class or coaching via like a podcast. But when you started your podcast, I don't know what type of guests you were really looking for at the beginning, but my partner and I, Ron, when we our first 100 episodes, most guests, like they fit into like 3 categories. One was a future business client type person.
Mhm.
2 was it was somebody we needed and wanted to learn from. And so it's like, I want free coaching, so I'm going to go reach out to Phil, and he's going to teach me by the questions I get.
I feel seen. I feel so seen right now. Yeah. One was potential clients, and I've always been pretty much open. I think that I use this as a lead generating podcast
Yeah.
because I know when entrepreneurs come on and they're like, I want to get them, either help them start their podcast, produce their podcast, but I want them to have a podcast because it's so if they're talking and they've done something in their journey, I would like, you need a podcast to share your journey. So
Yep.
that's what I do. And also going after people who are like 3 years ahead of me. And I'm like, okay, how do I get 3 years ahead of me? I have to find someone who's there and learn from them and try and ask them those questions. Like I've had copywriters on because I wanted to learn copywriting. And it's like, okay, so tell me about your copy. I can't believe I'm giving away my secrets.
Yeah. Well, if anybody, like, again, I give away those secrets all the time. Like,
Yeah.
like there's certain things that if you're doing things for the right reasons, that person gets a platform to share
Mhm.
their thing that they're the expert at, right? But B, selfishly, you get to learn to how to copyright or whatever that is. Because yeah, we went through, like, we still do that once in a while, but it's like we wanted some real estate info, and so we I don't know if you know the cash flow taxes guys, Ryan Lee and Brad Gibb.
I heard of it.
They're-
I'm in a mastermind with some real estate podcasters.
yeah,
So
see,
they've
well,
dropped those name that show.
yeah, so Ron and I, we wanted to learn a lot of their stuff. So we got Brad on, then we got Ryan on, then we got the both of them on. Then we went through their challenge live and got them back on, right? Like we ended up, I don't know how many, maybe like 8 episodes with them, but it helped us develop such a good relationship with them that like now they're coming to us when they launch a new company here in late June. And
Oh,
so we're going to
nice.
be doing a JV partnership with them. But it started because we wanted to learn more stuff within the real estate realm. And what's funny is the real estate is like this much of what they actually do. They do so much different stuff. But that's like, that was our selfish, like, let's learn from these guys. And now we have these great relationship with them.
I have to be frank and honest with you. I did that with my client Lloyd, who's this millionaire mentor. He started a side hustle and then used that to grow his portfolio, his investment portfolio, and teaches people all that as well. And I had him on as a guest, and now I'm producing his podcast, and I get a mastermind every every first of the month that produces podcast. I get his episodes, and yeah, I'm learning so much. And my investments are doing amazing right now.
That's awesome. See,
Yeah, so
it's
I yeah.
the
And now we're
beauty.
working together on another podcast, and that's doing amazing as well. So yes, similar to how you were doing with the real estate guy, I did it with my client as well. Started as a guest because I wanted to learn. My God, I feel so seen, and I feel that I'm not alone. But that's what podcasting does. It shows that other people go through the same thing you do or do the same thing you do. But Cory, why did you start to be an entrepreneur? Going back to the kind of
Back to the original question that I
yeah.
did. Sorry. Yeah, so I was in the restaurant world, as I was saying, in the 9 to 5 type stuff. My business partner and I, we both kind of went in the restaurant world and were very successful at it. But I was traveling so much. Like it was ridiculous how much. Like there was one month with this was the end of my days at this. I was gone 30 of 31 days opening a new restaurant. My wife was like raising our son by herself because I was gone so much. And I'd had enough. And so, long story short, I ended up taking a leap, took a 30% pay cut, and met my partner at a different job that kept me home locally. And then through our working together, we realized like we love what we did in many aspects of coaching, developing people, but we hated working for this company. We hated just like restaurants or a dime a dozen. It just didn't matter. The people did matter, and the people were awesome. And so we just at that point decided, you know what, we can do some of the stuff that we love on our own. And and so yeah, it's just that was the start of it. And then it got to a point. It grew to a point where it we were both working full time, and we both had our business going, and that took full time. And then the pandemic hit, and I got laid off. And so it was like perfect timing because we were already just struggling with how am I really going to get through with time, because I was just maxed out. We couldn't take on any more clients, and I was still working for someone else today that was didn't
You
want to do
just needed
it.
that break, something, the clear sign saying like, yes, you can release this and go full time and you'll be okay.
Yep. Yeah. Full time. So February 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, you know what? Does this happen to us or for us? It's definitely for us. And I went full in at that point. And again, we already had clients. Like we were in a really, really good position. Some people, I know a lot of people that started right then, and they were starting from scratch. Like we were already at a point where we had decided to stop everything except podcasting related stuff.
Activity, yeah.
And yeah, and the rest is history. Now I'm in my messy work from home office at the moment. And, I take my daughter to school every day. I pick her up from school every day. I work some late nights. I'll work some nights around the TV. Like there's still lots of work, but I get to be home and I work when I want. And that is why I went into entrepreneurship, is to every morning be home and have coffee with my wife before the kids are up. And then every day take my daughter, who's in second grade, to school, and then go see my son's baseball and any other sports that he's doing. And yeah, 100%. That's why I got into entrepreneurship. And yeah, I love every second of it. I love podcasting. I love what I do. I love being on other shows like this, and I love hosting my own show. Like it's just a total blast. So
That's awesome. No, that's great that and that's a great reason. Like everybody's had, it's like to find that freedom, the freedom of time. Like they don't need the money is okay. It's the freedom of time to be able to be like, hey, I want to spend time with my daughter. Or I want to spend time with my kid, my wife, my partner, or even my animal. I had one. I just want to be around my dog more, and my job wasn't letting me, so I went entrepreneurship. But yeah, no, I love. It's just getting that, being able to do what you love and doing it with the people you love too, I find.
yeah, yeah, and in entrepreneurship, if you have, depending on the business, but the business that I wanted to be an entrepreneur in is one that I can go to travel and go to another state and just have my laptop. And if I need to do a few things, and so like I don't know about you, but I've done interviews in probably for my podcast, probably 4 different states because I was on vacation. And so I was like, yeah, I'm still going to take 1 hour and interview somebody and have fun with this part. And yeah, it's just like being able to just do that when you wanted. Like the money's great. We all got to put roof on the head,
Yeah,
our overheads, and food on the table. But your why has definitely got to be greater than that for sure.
yeah. Um, what in the last few years of your entrepreneurial journey, what has been one of maybe your favorite memories that you've had or moments that you've had?
Um, well, that's regarding the business.
Yeah.
There's a couple. I've got two moments that are like, ooh, we won't do that again moments.
Oh, yes. Let's hear those. Those are
Yeah,
always
yeah.
sometimes more exciting.
Number one was when Ron and I we oh man, this is so funny. When we did our first real pitch, where we heard what the client was needing, and then looked at all the stuff, and we're like, all right, we've got these 3 different levels. We'll pitch them and hope they take the middle one, right? And it was just helping them with the summit and doing a bunch of graphics and doing a bunch of Facebook ads and different things for this summit. And our high level pitch was like 5 grand. And it was just for 1 month of work, 5 grand. We're like, yeah, that'll be awesome. But where we kind of thought we would be was this 3 grand offer. And while being on the call with 2 people that we were pitching this to, they didn't even stop to talk to each other. They said, yes, we'll take the 5 grand offer. Like, when they don't talk to each other, you just messed up, right?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you're only charging that?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll take the 5K. Fuck it, or whatever it is. Yeah, we'll take it."
yeah. And so we collected the check, we did the work. At the end of that month, they're like, yeah, we would have paid 20 grand for that. And we're like, yeah, we felt every bit of that. But now we know you're going to use us the next time, and the price will be relevant to that.
It's gonna be closer to 20K this time.
Yeah. And they did come back, and it was a little bit different work, but it still was a 15K bring in on that second time. So, but that was the first, like, ooh, that was definitely too low. If they didn't even have to talk to each other, that was too low. But the other moment is, and this is the fun, crazy, I try not to do it ever again moments. But as you launch different podcasts, there's sometimes a deadline is there, right? Like you're ready to launch on Friday, but not everything worked according to plan that week. And then all of a sudden, Thursday at 2 a.m., you're still wrapping up editing and some other different material, and just to make sure that the client wakes up and that everything is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so definitely had a few moments, a few launches like that where it was just like, why did we put ourselves in this position that it's 2 a.m. and I'm still editing someone's podcast? So we're better at that now. We don't I don't think I've worked past like 10 o'clock in over a year now, but still, those are fun and crazy, and I'll never forget. And I always felt satisfied and rewarded as soon as it launched the next day, and it was all successful. But definitely putting myself in those positions where I don't do well after 10, and so 2 a.m. like trying to edit someone's show is not good.
Oh
So
yeah, no, it's the 2 a.m. Oh my God, I have to get this out because they're in a different time zone and they're getting up in 20 minutes and this needs to be up for them.
yeah,
Yeah, I've had one or two of those nights.
yeah,
They are not.
so fun though.
Yeah, it's you do it and you're like, okay, never again, and then you get busy, and then the edit, and then you're like, oh yeah, I have to get this done. Jesus, uh, the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The freedom, but also the time crunches come quick if you're not planning properly, which is a key point in being prepared as an entrepreneur. I think I found myself being more organized in my life. Did you find that when you would jump from the 9 to 5 to the entrepreneur life?
Well, not necessarily, because again, I was running multiple restaurants across time zones and teams, and so I had a lot of that business success, managing the P&Ls and all those things, outside of putting my own money in it, and outside of the bottom line coming back to me, right? Like I was managing all that stuff, so I wasn't really more organized, per se. But it's definitely like, hey, I've got to. There's moments of, I've hired people all over the place in the States, and hired people and done interviews. And then all of a sudden I'm hiring for our podcast agency. And I'm like, I don't know how to do an interview to somebody that lives in the Philippines. Like, wait a minute, like I need to rethink how I do things, and how we're paying people. And so that was a learning curve too. Like even hiring before you're maxed out. And Ron and I, we got to a point where we're working 80 hours a week editing shows, and we ended up missing of 2021, January and February. We didn't do a single sales call because we didn't hire in time. And so we were just maxed out, and we were just trying to, like, we did interviews and found some people, but like hired too late. Like that's one of the principles: don't hire too late, then, because then you miss out on what's bringing business in, right? Like you miss out on those sales calls. And so, yeah, definitely not as organized as I thought I would be, overall, but a lot of those things translated, so it was kind of easy on that.
Okay, that's good. That's good. What would a tip you would have? Sorry, yeah, we'll go tip first. Because I have two questions left, and I mix them up. But a tip you would have for someone who's starting, going from the restaurateur type lifestyle, working environment, jumping into being an entrepreneur. What would maybe a tip you would have for them?
Tip is record everything, right? And so, and then you can publish those recordings via, say, a podcast. But record everything, so that way, if when you're going from working for someone else where they create all the SOPs and they create all the rules and regulations, if you start from day one, and hopefully you're passionate about what you're trying to do. If you start from day one, just record all the stuff, because eventually you're going to look at that kind of mapped out plan and go, oh, that didn't work, or let me adjust these things. And then when you grow in time to, and you're ready to hire people, it's not a guessing game. It's literally like, here's how to do this. Like, I'm going to hand you this paper, and you're already going to know. I'm going to hand you this video, and you're going to know. And there's no guesswork for those people. So you'll save yourself a ton of time and energy if you just start from the beginning and record everything.
Great advice. And plus, you could always make a course out of it later and sell it.
Yeah, there's a repurposing fact as well. Anything you're doing, but you can't go back to it if you don't record it. So just record everything and then figure out from there what can be done with it.
There we go. And I want to know a book that for entrepreneurs that you live or die by. You're like, this is a book you should read.
Definitely if anybody in the funnel world knows Russell Brunson, right? ClickFunnels. So his books, Traffic Secrets, Expert Secrets, those probably are the two books that really, Expert Secrets, it was probably the first book that really got me going down the online space, and next thing I know, like I saw the book, and then I'm doing the One Funnel Away challenge, and then he's yelling at me, or Steve Larson's yelling at me to launch a podcast or publish, right? And I'm like, well, I listen to podcasts, I'm going to do that. And so Expert Secrets for one, just learning through all the stuff that you can do online, and just that's probably my favorite business book, and really the series, the Traffic series, or the Secrets series by Russell Brunson. But then the other one that I live and die by, and this is like for my personal life, my family, my wife and I, we both read this book probably when we were like 21, so to date myself, that was 22 years ago. And, it's a book called The Four Agreements. And, one example, it's an easy read, but one example of an agreement is don't take things personal. And, it's, if you can go through, and if somebody talks bad to you on social media, but like it has nothing to do with you, it's just that person, who that person is. Like, I'm not going to take it personal. Oh, Phil doesn't like the way I edit podcasts. Well, I'm not going to take that personal. Like a lot of people do, like how I edit. Like I can take feedback, but if you just don't like it, like that doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if there's not a valid point behind, like, oh, Cory, I don't like how you edit this part because it sounds wonky when it comes out. Oh, okay, I have to check in on that. That's not a personal. That's like he's trying to help me be better, instead of like saying,
Yep.
I don't like your style of editing.
Exactly. And it's so good. It's like, and taking that to heart with everything I do has helped us in business tremendously. And just an example of that is one of our clients, Christy Code Red. She is in charge of her business, Code Red Lifestyle. It's a weight loss program, typically for women, but ultimately she's a retired professional boxer, so she was kind of a star a little bit back in the day. But when she did a testimonial video for us, like part of that testimony was she loves how she can give us feedback, whether it's good or bad. We take it as just feedback, and then we move forward, right? And so she, we're not perfect, right? And there's been things she didn't like, and then she just says, "Hey guys, this wasn't perfect. This is what I would like." Okay, done. We've never gotten upset about it. It never hurt a conversation. We were never like trying to make excuses. It was just, we didn't do it to her standard, so we fixed it and we moved on. And we didn't take it personal. And she is like, sending us clients because we don't take it personal when there's feedback, good or bad. We just, try to get it all to her liking and her standard, and, move forward with all that stuff. So don't take it personal is one of those four agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz is the author.
Excellent. Definitely going to be picking up that one. I have the Secrets by Russell Brunson. I'm just re-listening to I believe it's .com Secrets right now. Near the end of .com Secrets. Going to jump into Expert Secrets next, and then
Nice.
Traffic Secrets. Get all those done, because they're like, just listening to his story is great, and he's one of the top 100 guests that I want to have on the podcast, because I think ClickFunnels is an amazing tool, and I'm in the process of doing a new funnel, creating a funnel for the podcast, and that's something to look forward to. But Cory, we're getting to the end of it. I want you to hype up your Hindsight Hacking Media company and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to jump off the screen and let you let everybody know where they can find you and how they can help you out.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Phil. So anybody, you guys can find me. I got a link right there in the just next to my name. So getahhm.com/podcasting. That just has pretty much all the little things that we do regarding podcasts. But if you want to actually have fun, if you don't have a show already, you can actually head to profitswithpodcasts.com, and that will help you launch. We'll edit everything, make all your graphics, make sure you hit the charts, most importantly, and know how to profit from your podcast from day one. We've had people hitting number 1. We've had people hitting number 8 in entrepreneurship in the US, like all kinds of things. We're 100%, every single person that's launched with us has hit the charts as planned. And again, if you follow the strategies, then you can make your podcast an asset to your business where you're making as much money or more than what you put into it. And that's the most important thing. If you can get your lead gen, I know Phil was talking about that, right? Use your podcast for a lead gen aspect, get to know your clients and your audience, and most importantly, have a little fun. And that's about it. So you can find me Facebook, Cory E Carter. You can find me at gethhm.com or profitswithpodcast.com. Thanks so much.
Excellent, Cory. I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And of course, to my audience, all the links will be in the show notes, so you can go support Cory, go join his podcast for profits, which is Profits with Podcast. Sorry, Profits with Podcast. I'm in that group. It's a great group, and Cory's always sharing great stuff. And it's a lot of fun to finding the guests that are there as well, because I'm not going to lie, I've poached a few guests from the group because they're great people there with great businesses. So why not have them on a show talking about their business?
Yep.
But Cory, I want to thank you again for being an awesome guest. And I'm glad we've had a conversation where we've talked, and I'm going to definitely be picking your mind going forward, and hopefully you do the same. But I can't thank you enough for being a guest on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I guess while we're live, yes, you got to be a guest on our show next, right? Let's get that booked.
Let's do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember to always invest in yourself and have a great day.